I happily enrolled in a Greek mythology summer school class. We read and studied all the famous stories from King Midas and the Golden Touch to Daedalus and Icarus. It was super nerdy fun. I liked how the stories were fantastical but had deeper meaning. Myths, legends, fables, and folktales are types of stories originally passed by word of mouth, but are now found in writing. They vary in their subject matter, from explaining the natural world and delivering life lessons to exaggerated events and people grounded in history. What they have in common, though, is their durability as both forms of entertainment and as teaching tools. Fables are short tales that usually feature animals, real or mythical, given human-like qualities to deliver a specific moral or lesson. Many fables originated from an oral tradition and exist in every culture. But the most famous writer of these fables is Aesop, a Greek slave believed to have lived around 560 BC. Of course, many disagree whether or not he actually wrote all or even some of the fables we identify as Aesop's fables today. Not to be confused with parables, those are the instructive tales featuring human characters we associate with the Bible and other religious texts. One of the most famous fables of the West, and often attributed to Aesop, is the story of the tortoise and the hare. If you don't remember the plot, the speedy hare and the slow tortoise take part in a race. The hare, sure of his victory, decides to take a nap under a shady tree. The hare oversleeps, the tortoise wins, and we are reminded that slow and steady wins the race. You don't have to look far for modern-day fables, from George Orwell's Animal Farm to many of Theodore Dr. Seuss Geisel's children's books. For example, Dr. Seuss's story, The Lorax, teaches us that natural resources are precious and finite. At one point, the Lorax even says, "I am the Lorax, I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongues," which is also the function of a fable. Folktales also stem from an oral tradition passed down by the folk who told them. The term folktale is often used interchangeably with fable, since folktales can have a lesson at the end. Folktales are different from fables because they feature people as their main characters, but often with a twist. For example, stories like Paul Bunyan and Babe the Blue Ox, and the American cowboy Pico's Bill lassoing a tornado, show people and animals performing amazing feats of strength. Just as there are folk in every country has its own folktales. Sometimes countries as far apart as China and France can have very similar traditional tales. The story of Stone Soup, for example, is one told all over the world. A common version of Stone Soup begins with 3 soldiers, hungry and tired, entering a village. The villagers are greedy, not looking to share their food, but the strangers are smart. They put large stones in a pot to boil in the town square, and the villagers stop by, one by one, to ask what they are making. Soon each villager is convinced to add an onion or some carrots or a handful of beans to the stone soup. At the story's end, a delicious feast is enjoyed by the entire village, brought together by strangers. Found in different countries across the world, the folktale Stone Soup serves as a reminder to people to work together, share their resources, and show hospitality to the needy among them. Myths are stories from every culture that, for centuries, have explained natural phenomena and answered questions people have about the human condition. Origin and creation stories, stories about life, death, and life after death, big picture stuff. It is for this reason that myths are sacred religious stories to the people who believe in them. From Norse myths about Thor, the powerful god who uses his mighty hammer to protect mankind, to Native American stories about the Earth's origins. In the northeastern United States, many native tribes believed that the land was formed on the back of a giant turtle from the sea. An Iroquois myth recorded in 1816 began